I think we are back. Hello, welcome to Comics in Quarantine Solving Problems. Are you there, Eric?
I think I'm here, Steve.
It's looking. Do you know what? We've got a minute or so before the official feed starts.
Yeah.
We think it might have been you had one of your lights on, which was messing with your Wi-Fi.
I've been playing with the electrics because I don't like the way I look without my glasses. So I want my glasses on, but I don't want the glare in my glasses. So I've been playing with the lights in the room, and I had more lights on,
Okay.
and that may have created an electrical interference.
Maybe. Are you using a laptop or a fixed monitor?
This is a Mac with a monitor
Oh, okay.
and a webcam, and it should, a Mac should cause no problems whatsoever because of the best computers ever designed by aliens.
Looks like it, yeah. No, I was just thinking if it was a laptop, you could have tilted it so you don't get shine in your face.
Right. I have tilted the screen and I've played with lights, but I think there's less glare than there was on Tuesday, which is, really, you want to see these babies.
I like your lighting. If anything, it looks more. I think I'm quite washed out here, but I've just got too many lights in this room, and I've also not seen daylight for 6 weeks. 6 weeks.
Yeah, that's true. Normally you are such a robust picture of the color of health, but I'm surprised you don't look better.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem. I think it's 9 o'clock.
It's 9 o'clock.
Let's start this.
Let's do it. Welcome along to Comics in Quarantine Solving Problems. Take 2, a little bit later than scheduled, or as Eric would say, scheduled.
Yes.
Yeah.
So one of our problems that we'll have to tackle is the web.
I don't get. Is that a pun? I feel like there was the way you delivered it. There was a pun in there, but I'm not sure.
No, it's just about technology and the fact that we're starting half an hour late.
Okay. So I've already done all my jokes about PPE. You missed it because your Skype wasn't working. But maybe I'll repeat them at the end. Depends how desperate we are to fill the half hour.
Did you? Well, we'll reintroduce the idea of the show in case you're just tuning in. That we are comedians in quarantine and solving problems. And we've had people send us problems, and I don't know if you covered this already, but I think it's worth covering again, is that someone contributed to us because we are unemployed comedians at the moment, and they contributed to the show, which you can do with the little link that's on there. And so we're going to solve their problem first.
Okay, because they've paid. This is very much like that Patreon thing, whatever the hell that's called. You get better. Actually, we should set up one of those as well. So the question... what was the question from the person who paid?
So, they started actually by saying, let's see, where's it here? Let's see. Oh, yeah. You guys are hilarious. This is the first part of their question. Keep up the great work. Second part of their question. Since you do not shy away from nerdy humor on your show, so they clearly are pointing this one at you, please share your explanation of flattening the curve and the area under the curve.
Okay, as much as I would like to take umbrage at being called a nerd, we're talking about the area under the curve. This is integration. This is calculus. This is sweet, baby. So the one that they're talking about, I think I can show it, is this famous curve. Have you seen this one before, Eric?
I've seen those curves. I like both of them. Even if one of them's a little unequal, I like the curve.
What we've got there, do you remember the other episode where I showed a picture of Prince William and Kate and pointed out they've nicked our stuff because he sits on my side and she sits on your side? Look at this.
I'm under the curve.
Yeah. One of them, slightly paler, taller, bit thinner. The other one, shorter. But
fine. I have gained a little weight, but
in case no one really understands what kind of shape we're talking about, for the British audience, do you remember the children's TV show Stop It and Tidy Up? Here's a picture. So what you've got there is one was short, one was tall, but it's the wrong way around. So this is what we call in the world of science the reverse Stop It and Tidy Up curve. There it is. You can see the curve. First peak is taller, and the second one is flattened, very much like that. So what you're dealing with there is the flattened curve. Now, the area underneath it, I think, roughly should be approximately the same because the height of the curve the area under it is proportional to how many people have been infected. But if you're infected, you stay infected for more than 1 day. So I think you get counted more than once.
Yeah.
The area under the flattened curve stretches out further. So I think it should be about the same. The only reason the blue... Here we are. And the reason the blue one would be shorter is because we might get a cure. But then at the same time, the reason the yellowy browny one might be shorter is because more people die in it. And if you die, you're not counted twice. So yeah, that's my explanation of the curve. It's not just about infection rates. It's the same curve for things like deaths. And also, I guess it'd be the same curve for things like this. That is what happens when people make podcasts without thinking about it on their phone. If they wait longer and put some effort in, you see what they've done there is they've flattened the curve.
Right. Well done.
Hey, look, if someone's going to pay you to ask a question, I'm going to put some damn work in answering it.
I think that's what that shows, is a commitment to answering a question, even if I'm not sure how much of that was factually helpful. But that's not the point of the show. The point of having comics solve your problems isn't that you're going to get a real answer. It's was that Donald Trump Sharpie that you was using to,
on that one?
Yeah.
Well, that was artistic. What's wrong with that? That looked pretty good.
No, but I mean, that drawing looks a little bit like the hurricane drawing that Donald Trump did when he was trying to say the scope of a hurricane getting to Georgia. Yeah. Because he said that, and then he tried to add it to a map later on.
But if Donald Trump was doing that, he very much would have been going, hang on, where is it? One boob is bigger than the other. That's all Donald Trump sees in that, to flatten the curve graph.
Well, that's all. To be fair, that's all I saw the whole time.
So if you've got any questions you'd like to ask, you can get in touch via various messagey places. And if you donate as well, you'll definitely be in the show. Shout out to Sharon, who says yay, and Jeff, who says evening. Evening.
Oh, there you go. I'll try and check my socials here to see if anyone's messaged on mine. But this might make noise there. Oh, that is making noise.
While you do that, so the other, do you want to jump into your first topic? I dealt with the PPE earlier. Anything else that you want to deal with?
Well, this is one story where I kind of feel like I owe someone an apology. And because it's been a problem, obviously, a lot of us are struggling economically with this crisis, some more than others, like comics. That's why you can contribute to the show. But this one person in particular, I want to apologize to directly, and that's Sir Richard Branson. And, he owns or is part of an airline conglomerate. They've been struggling, the airlines, and he basically said he needed government assistance for his airlines. And I was a bit like, what? You're a billionaire. Come on, mate. Step up. You should be able to bail yourself out of this. But then I saw this headline today. I think we have it. Just need to show. Look at that. The Richard Branson to mortgage Caribbean island as he seeks a Virgin bailout. Now, I'm going to avoid the obvious play rounds with the word virgin and what that could possibly mean. We know in this case it means his company. He's not trying to bail out some 19-year-old young man who was in his second year of university, like some people were when they were. Anyway, he is willing to sacrifice his Caribbean island to put in his own personal stake into saving that company. And so I thought, you know what? I'm having some financial struggles as well at the moment. What could I mortgage to help out, to pay my bills, because I don't want to let people down. Now, I don't own an island. I don't own a house. I do have a few things here. I've got, I went through the most valuable assets I have at the moment. And one of them is a
showing that Oyster might have caused some more web trouble. I don't know if there's a copyright issue there. I think someone's trying to shut us down again. Yep, we see it now.
Can you see that? So I'm willing to, did you hear that? I'm willing to mortgage this. I'm also willing to mortgage, another brand issue, an Amazon £20 gift card.
Yep. How much do you want for it?
It's been used.
Okay.
So I don't know if there's any money left on that. I'm also willing to mortgage my wedding ring. That's available. It does have the date that I got married on there. So you'd have to explain that to someone if you gave that to them. I'll wear it for now just to save it till you contribute. And also, most valuable, more valuable than the wedding ring perhaps, is a baseball autographed by Babe Ruth.
Actually autographed by Babe Ruth?
Well, it has. I'm going to put that up to the camera there. Let's see. It's got Babe. Ooh, I'm zeroing in. Tilting. One way. There we go. Ruth written on it.
Mm.
Now, I believe that was actually written by my father-in-law, who was not Babe Ruth.
Just to clarify.
Yeah. But it's a baseball autographed by Babe Ruth. I stand by that as the equivalent worth of a Caribbean island.
Okay.
Or Caribbean island, however you want to say it. I don't care. What about you, Steve?
What
are you willing to mortgage to save us in this crisis?
Nothing. I've already got a mortgage on this damn place. I'm already struggling as it is. Thank you. I don't employ or contribute to society, so it's absolutely fine. I don't need to go on the furlough scheme. I don't give anyone any jobs or produce anything that society really needs. So,
you're not really. No one's going to donate if that's the way you're pitching yourself, Steve.
Donate to Eric. He needs it and deserves it more than I do. I mean, look, hey, I say I don't contribute to society. There's the books there. There was the 2 books that I wrote that you could buy, that one or that one. And what's this up here? It's not just a Hackney Gazette anymore. Copy of the Chad from the Ashfield and Mansfield area.
You better not be driving up to those areas to get those papers.
They are so out of date.
Sending them to you.
I just kept a copy of one of all the newspapers. Next time we do a show, there'll be a Swindon Advertiser up there as well. Right. Brilliant. So have you made your peace with Richard Branson then?
Well, I mean, I'm glad that he's put a little skin in the game. That's what I'd like to say. And I'm willing to as well if you would like to purchase this autographed baseball.
Signed by your father.
Contact me.
Yeah. Okay.
It says Babe Ruth.
Yeah. It's signed by your father-in-law. But in terms of people that I'd like to complain about, I'm going to have to go for, and I don't want to nick your thunder here, but Donald Trump. Because you know how the big comparison between us and America is that America, they've got protests about opening things up. And look, it's not easy living in lockdown, but I think over here we're doing it to the best of our ability and we mean well by it. But over in America, they've been saying, look, things need to be opened for some very important reasons. Here's a clip.
We want to get our country open again. We want to have our sports leagues open. You want to watch sports. It's important. We miss sports.
Sports. Useless. No one really cares about sports. No one's going to buy a baseball that's been signed by anyone. So, and I realised, look, I don't think that sport is that important when you compare it to things like breathing, and that's actually what we're comparing it to at the moment. However, I realised I'm biased. I got a confirmation bias on this one because I don't really like sports. So I'm not noticing the ways in which sport is important. So I thought, okay, challenge your bias. I'm very much like Donald Trump in that way. I'm open-minded and I challenge my own bias. So let's take as an assumption that sport is important. Do we need to open up society to let people watch sport? No, we don't. We just need to start watching lockdown sports. For example, whenever you go into the supermarket, seeing people panic and try and stay at least 2 meters away from everyone else who's coming near them, that's like watching the Western version of Kabaddi. It's quite enjoyable. I personally enjoy placing bets on how long I can watch a runner for before they get stopped by armed police to ask why they're out of the house. There's another sport which I came up with that we could enjoy, pigeon racing. Now, I know you're not actually allowed pigeon racing. When they get together, they call it a meet, I think, and you're not allowed. It's one thing we're not allowed to do is meet. But you don't have to go to the pigeons can come to you. Next time you go out on a run, if you spot some pigeons, watch them race. I went for a run earlier and saw this exciting final.
And as we come into the final metre, it's Koo Stark in the lead with Flockstock and 2 Smoking Barrels bringing up the rear. Koo now starting to slow. He's not been beaten since the sitting on a ledger, but it's Flock that's having a great season. And he overtakes. It's all over. And they'll be dancing on Pigeon Street tonight.
Exciting stuff.
That was very exciting.
Yeah. And also, I've been inventing some sports as well to try and help out my fellow sports athletes. Is that what they're called? I have quite a long corridor in the flat that I've got a big mortgage on. And I also have some very cheap nylon slippy socks. Put those together, and what we've got there is human curling. Human curling, take 14. I've been polishing this floorway for quite a while now, so stay there. Take a run up from the kitchen, see if we can go for the record. quite a long corridor. So there we go.
Are you okay after all that?
Yeah, it turns out, I can deal with all of the injuries that, thankfully it's not really too busy down the hospitals these days. So yeah, so that's what I suggested.
You really need to clean out your corridor. That's what my takeaway from that. You've got way too much stuff at the end of that corridor. I guess that's the advantage of now doing comedy sitting down, which is what you're doing after that horrific injury that you would have sustained from that sport.
Need to, indeed. Brilliant. Now, do you want to... I know I've nicked your steam there and talked about America. Have you got any stuff from America to deal with?
Well, I do. This is a little bit of Trump as well. And, the thing is, the polls aren't looking well for Trump. Obviously, having to deal with a pandemic is something that's quite severe for him. Normally, he just has to deal with his bankruptcies and Eric, his son. But we've got I want to have new segments in the show, and this is a new segment that I want to call Trump versus his staff. We'll eventually come up with music for this. So you can imagine how difficult it is working for Donald Trump, especially if you're one of his scientists and you have what I'll call theories. Maybe they're called facts, but they just don't connect well with Trump, the salesman, the hustler. And to reconcile those two things of Trump versus his own scientists, he's struggling, and you can see it right here.
Dr. Robert Redfield was totally misquoted in the media on a statement about the fall season and the virus. Totally misquoted.
You were accurately quoted, correct?
I'm accurately quoted in the Washington Post.
But it's all possible. It's also possible it doesn't come back at all.
We will have coronavirus in the fall. I am convinced of that.
Going well for him.
He's up there. He's up there going, the sky is falling. He's saying the sky is not falling, and these people are saying the sky is fucking falling. The sky is falling. It's like there's no skull. There's no sky. There's no sky. You can't. But it's in the same. I would imagine what happens if you're watching Fox News is they just cut away from when Trump says something, and then they bleep out his experts like they're swearing, and that's back to Trump saying something that's completely untrue, and then back to the swear. I don't know what happens. To be fair, they are scientists, and they are talking about their beliefs, and I know how strongly you feel about scientists and what they believe relatively, Steve.
Yeah, it's science doesn't care whether you believe in it or not. It's not a belief, it's just a thing.
But you clearly have not met Donald Trump. That's
true. I don't think I'd be allowed anywhere near him, which is strange because we've got so much in common.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, that's. I think that we'll be able to see more of that as Trump tries to open up America with no reason whatsoever, other than the fact that he's desperate to try and get reelected because that's the only thing keeping him out of jail.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to move on and do the rest of the American stuff, or actually, I've got another story which is also from America, which I could chuck in. It's up to you about the order on this.
Okay. Well, why don't we do yours next?
Okay. Because, look, one thing that has come out of America that's great is some of the ideas about potential cures for this, which included, there was a headline where they said in America they were been spreading the rumor that blowing a hairdryer up your nose would kill the coronavirus. Turns out, and sit down for this, it won't. Although it will add volume to your nasal hair, so it's still worth doing. There was a rumor about garlic potentially killing the virus, which seems like that's healthy. More people are going to have a bit more fruit and veg. However, there was a woman in China who ended up in hospital when she ate 1.4 kilograms of raw garlic. Yeah. Although, again, I'm sure people ended up socially distancing from her. So there's always a plus side to it. And then the best potential cure is definitely this one.
Adults are now buying breast milk because some believe that it can protect them from COVID-19.
Yeah. Now, I'm sure it can't, because where's the science on that? The fact that fewer babies have caught COVID-19 than grown-ups?
Yep.
Maybe they shake fewer hands. I guess there are many other reasons it might not be the breast milk. But this is one where I'm going to do what you probably don't expect. I'm going to say do it. Because what difference is it going to make? This is not like that hydrochloroquine business that they were trying to... If you start taking a drug for another disease, it's going to be bad for you. It's bad for your heart, whatever.
Yeah.
No one's ever had an OD of breast milk, imagine the size of the boob. Yep. No, you were just imagining it. Yeah. So I say this is one of those cures that might not be true, but you know what? Knock yourself out. I mean, look, there is no way it's been suggested by anyone who's got any medical knowledge. This was clearly suggested by a pervert. Simple as, oh, I think I've got an idea about what might help me get over this disease. Oh, what is it? Do you need aspirin? No. And I'm sure the conversation went like that. We'll edit it there. But I say, do you know what? If you believe that, don't knock down a 5G mask. Go and get yourself a nice, whatever they're called, boobachino. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think the hydrochloroquine, that was definitely big pharma. And this conspiracy is definitely big boob.
We're trying to be highbrow, but we're never going to achieve it for long.
When were we going to try and be highbrow? You can't mention boobies. And
Charles says nice. You're probably right. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I agree with you on that one. I mean, I know on these kind of shows you're supposed to argue with each other, but yeah, I think that, with this going on, we have to try anything that we can. And if that's what it takes, then I will be there.
Yeah. And yes, you'll end up with one of those milk mustaches, but you're going to be wearing a face mask anyway. So there's never been a better time to be into breast milk.
Yeah.
Do you want to pick it up? What's your other news from America?
Expected you to say. This is another new segment of the show that I think we need to call America is Fucked, if we're allowed to swear. Because it's not, I know that we take the piss out of Trump quite a bit, but it's not just Trump that's trying to kill Americans. There's other politicians that are trying to do it as well. And there are other reasons why the country's in deep. I've got two pieces of evidence for you. The first one is the mayor of Las Vegas, of all places. Her name is Caroline Goodman, and she wants to take an interesting gamble with Las Vegas, and I think we've got a little clip.
Said let the businesses open. Competition will destroy that business if in fact they get evidence they have a disease there. So that should happen. Just let the businesses open. If it becomes a vector for viral infection and those people go back to their states and around the world, so be it.
It's a responsibility of each one of us as a human being and part of the civilized world to know when we're sick. We don't do bad things to people at all, ever.
What do you think, Steve? Capitalism at its finest.
She makes a very strong point. I think the free market will sort this out, because if your customers die, they will spend less money, and that might impact your business.
Yeah, it's very much, do I want to play the slots, or do I want to get a deathly virus? It's a difficult question. But that is how capitalism works. What I do love about that interview, if you get a chance to watch the whole thing, it's about 25 minutes, is the exasperation of Jake Tapper. I mean, if you want to see a man who is at his wit's end going, you're what? What? It's incredible.
Fair enough. You said you had two pieces of information.
I've got two pieces of evidence. The other, it's not just Caroline who wants to play Who Wants to Live or Die. We've also got the Lieutenant Governor Patrick of Texas, of all places, who also has got an interesting view of how we should deal with this whole coronavirus problem.
In Texas, we have 29 million people. We've lost 495, and every life is valuable. But 500 people out of 29 million, and we're locked down, and we're crushing the average worker. We're crushing small business. We're crushing the markets. We're crushing this country. And what I said when I was with you that night, there are more important things than living.
Wow.
Yeah. He's kind of flipped it there. He's got the old saying, give me liberty or give me death. And he is definitely offering for give me death. So, what do you think, Steve? What is more important to you than living?
It is true. He's actually going for give me liberty and death is what he's going for. Bit of both.
Give me liberty to die is what he's asking for.
I will admit there are times when you should and shouldn't say but, and I think after you've just said every life is important, is you've left yourself wide open. Maybe then going, but yours.
It's like, I don't want to say something racist, but
I think we've got a catchphrase. The show's finally got a catchphrase.
But I think,
not the racist
really, Steve,
bit,
what do you value? What do you? I mean, you've given up a lot. We've sacrificed doing this. We've sacrificed our income. So you can donate to the show if you want to, because we have no money. But there are, I guess, there's some things that are,
Yeah.
Is it worth it?
What would they have to ban me from doing that I would say no? I will take my chance against this RNA in a pissy sack of protein, and I will fight the COVID-19. That's difficult because the problem is I'm such an introvert. I'm more scared about what happens when we come out of lockdown and I have to deal with people again, because I've just lost my tolerance to them. You know what I mean? I've slowly through my life built up the ability to deal with people, but I'm not used to it now. So it's going to be difficult. I think if they said the internet is spreading COVID-19 and we're going to turn off the internet, I'd be like, do you know what? No, I'm going to give it a go. I know that men who are overweight die more than everyone else, so I'm not in a great category for it, but I would rather stomach some of that than sit around and read teletext like an idiot. Not a chance.
I've still got our VCR, so I'm prepared.
Yeah, dear me. So I think we've covered, we've covered a lot of the news stories there. It's Sue says hi as well. If you'd like to get in touch in various platforms, you can do a shout out and we'll answer any questions. There was a question today on Twitter. Do you have it in front of you? Because you've got more of the questions than I have. The one about light.
I did have some questions. What was the other question? Hold on.
While you're finding that, Sharon says,
"Oh, here
so
we go."
Sorry, I was going to
this...
read this message before you read that one out. Sharon says, it's so true. My bullshit threshold has never been so low since I've been alone. It's going to be difficult coming out, isn't it? Oh, people.
Yeah, so this was one that was kind of dedicated. It was more towards you. This is the color one, if you're ready for that. This was Mark Randall asked us, if the wavelengths of visible light changed so that red became orange, orange became yellow, etc., how would the song Snooker Loopy sound? Now, I'm saying that question is for you because I've got no idea what he's talking about.
Well, I'm here. That was a strange time for your Skype to hold. I'm here to help. So I did the research on this. And if you send us questions when we're not broadcasting live, we'll still do the research, especially if you donate. The link's at the bottom. Do you know the song Snooker Loopy?
Nope.
So, the actual lyrics, I should inform you of the actual lyrics. Pot the red and screw back for the yellow, green, brown, blue, pink, and black. That's the song.
That sounds dirty.
Yeah, it does. I don't want to know what the green is. You want to get that looked at. But what he's talking about is, and look, I've got, hopefully here, if I should be able to show you what a spectrum of visible light looks like. So that's all of the colours right there. That's nice, isn't it? So, Mark is saying that the red goes to orange, which as you can see is a small change. That's just a small step in the right direction, off to the right of the screen. So I've looked at this. Oh, I think your internet's going again. I'll just do some of this while we're doing it. The red becomes orange. We can then see that yellow moves across to green. Green would move across to light blue. And here's the tricky one. Brown, which I guess would be somewhere between red and yellow, would move to somewhere between yellow and green. Eric, if you're still with us, what colour is between yellow and green, would you say?
I can't hear you.
Yeah.
Say the question again.
What colour is between yellow and green?
Blue. I couldn't. What?
It's not. No, it's like if you mix yellow and green together, what colour is it? I mean, even on that chart, I don't really. It's a greeny yellow or a yellowy green.
Lime.
Lime would be better. I googled it and came up with chartreuse, which is apparently a mix of yellow and green. I'm going to write down lime. Lime's definitely going to scan better. Here's an interesting thing, though. Black won't change because it is the absence of colour, the total absorption of all spectrum of light, so it doesn't matter. And that's good because that's the word that rhymes with back earlier in the song. So we still get the rhyming structure. So in answer to your question, Mark, the song would become pot the orange and screw back for the green, blue, lime, purple, ultraviolet, and black. Snooker loopy, nuts away. We're all snooker loopy. Has that answered your question?
I think that right there has shown the value of this show to solve the problems that are bothering the British public at this time when we are going through one of our biggest catastrophes since, well, it's just hard to say.
I mean, during the Second World War, there were more people sat around in pubs with pianos. So that kind of music was still being done. So they didn't have to go without it like we've had to go. That's Chaz and Dave. Do you know who Chaz and Dave are, Eric?
Yes, I am familiar.
No way. What's your favourite Chaz and Dave song?
Not that familiar.
You could just say Snooker Loopy. you could nail this one.
Snooker Loopy.
Snooker Loopy.
All right, we're running out of time. We do have one more question that was sent in to us. This is another song one. This is from World of Planet Lesty. Does the song lyric, "Are we human or are we dancer," imply the existence of aliens? And are they trying to communicate to us through the medium of Strictly?
It's a great question. I would say no, but you're right. The lyrics do imply that dancer and human are mutually exclusive. So on a Venn diagram, there would be no overlap of human or dancer, which means if you're human, you don't dance. If you're dancer, you're not human, which means everyone who's been on Strictly has ended up having a interspecies love affair. I'm just going to keep doing that till your Skype comes back. Interspecies. Oh, this is not going to come back at all, is it? So hopefully that answered your question about dancers and humans not being the same thing. We can trace humans back to Australopithecus afarensis. I think we can trace dancers back to John Travolta. Thanks for your questions. So hopefully we're out of time on this one. We've enjoyed the show. You can donate. The link's on the screen. ko-fi.com/comics are essential. Send some money to this guy over here so he can get a better router.
I am still here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're just not moving. This is brilliant. This now looks like it looks like we've put up a still of you, like you're sadly no longer with us. Oh, there you go. You're back.
I'm back in, but the little picture, which I don't understand what the little picture means. But anyway, this has been fun once we got it going. Yeah. I think we'll be back. When are we going to be back? Next Tuesday?
Next Tuesday, 8:30 we'll aim for. Would be lovely. We'll let you know if we have to change the times. It will be available on all various streaming outlets. Thank you for your messages.
It'll be there. Hopefully, I mean, Tuesday was better internet usage, so maybe Thursday's just a busy day.
Yeah. Mark says thank you for that, for the actual analysis of light as a waveform.
Someone was actually watching.
Yeah. Next week, we'll look at light also being a series of particles, and we'll study De Broglie's wave-particle duality.
Now you've got them started, Mark. You'll never end. You'll never end. But yeah, if you have questions, do send them in. If you have money, do send that in. I got kids. And
it's more of a threat. That seemed like that came across.
And don't forget, you can buy this baseball.
Yeah.
And I'll throw in the Oyster
wedding
card
ring
and the Amazon gift voucher.
And the old wedding ring.
There we go. And the wedding ring. And I've got a roll of toilet paper.
Do you know what? I didn't realise, because like when we first did one, you had a massive pile of toilet paper, and I was going to mock you for your stash of toilet paper. No one might have noticed it, but just before we go, I'll replay the clip. You know when I did my human curling? I'll just replay the clip a little. Just check to see what I've got on the cupboard in the kitchen. Human curling, take 14. I mean, curling is not a word you want to have when you're noticing. He backs up, he blocks out the light, and... from the kitchen. See if you can go for the record. Or does it ever show up?
I can't see.
Oh, thankfully, it's been covered.
How much toilet paper is there?
It's been covered by the light. Oh, I've got like 32 of the darn things on the top of the cupboard. I thought I was going to be in trouble. But it looks like I got away with it.
There we go.
Right. For another way then. Till next time.
I'll talk to you next week.
Oh, before we go, the podcast version it's officially on iTunes. Just before we started, I got the email. The podcast version of this, Comics Aren't Essential, is definitely on iTunes now. We'll see you next week. Bye.